kind of moved on to think about the voices in a bit more detail and sort of try and understand a bit about what's going on, that'd be okay? Okay. Maybe a good place to start would just be to think about the last time that kind of hearing the voices was difficult for you. And sort of look at that in a bit more detail. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay. When was the last time that it was difficult?
I went out and I tried to go shopping. I found that pretty hard because they were being pretty nasty to me then. Kind of looking at clothes. Yeah.
Okay. So, when was this? Was this?
A couple of days ago now. Yeah.
Okay. So you were out shopping, kind of clothes shopping.
Yeah.
And had you been hearing the voices before you went out, or was it once you'd kind of actually gone shopping? Or?
No, they were there before I went out, kind of saying things like, "Why are you going shopping? You're stupid. You won't find anything because you're ugly," and just saying kind of nasty things. But it felt like it got worse when I was actually out trying to do stuff, and when I was picking up things, they were kind of shouting at me and saying nasty things.
Sounds like a really kind of nasty situation to be in.
Yeah, I just kind of didn't stay out that long, to be honest. I just went back home because it wasn't very nice.
Okay, so they were kind of saying nasty things before you went out, but you managed to go out anyway.
Yeah, I was trying to do something, but I found it really difficult once I got out, and thought afterwards I felt a bit stupid, and they were telling me I was stupid for even trying, and what was the point, because I was crap at everything I did, and might as well just end it here now because I'll never be able to do anything anyway.
Right.
So
sounds really quite difficult. How did it kind of make you feel when you were hearing those things?
Really bad. It was horrible. I just think it's not like, why me, and I must be really bad, and the things they say are really horrible, and really loud times, like really shouting at you and saying you're bad, and like a couple of times when I was out I was like looking round because I thought they were behind me or someone just shouting nasty things, but there wasn't, and I felt a bit stupid because I was looking round and stuff. But they wouldn't stop, it was just constant. It was like just horrible.
It does sound very difficult and distressing. When you say you felt really bad, do you mean you felt kind of depressed or scared, or?
Yeah, it was really like, I felt really low, like I can't do anything at the moment, and everything I try and do, they're there and they're shouting at me and telling me not to do it, and I'm stupid and I should cut myself and I deserve it because I'm fat and I'm ugly, and like really horrible things like that. And at first I felt really kind of a bit frightened as well, even though I know I should kind of be used to it. It's still really frightening when you're out because it feels like there's someone kind of a bit behind you shouting those things at you, and you just want to run away or you just want to hide and switch it off, and so I went home.
And kind of when you hear the voice, is it the same voice or is it different voices, or?
I hear like an old woman's voice, and it's really like abrupt and kind of hostile and like quite authoritarian.
I mean, do you recognise the voice? Is it someone you know? Or?
I kind of wonder, like, if it was a horrible teacher I went to school with, or like, is it her? But I'm not sure. That's the only thing I can think about. And I hear kind of a younger person's voice, like maybe my age, maybe a bit younger, like saying things as well.
And do they say the same sort of things, or is it different?
The older person's a bit nastier, like telling myself to do nasty things to myself. The younger person's like, I don't know, kind of commenting on, so it starts off, like, it's hard to explain, like commentating on what I'm doing and stuff, but it kind of gets nastier and sort of calling me names and saying things like that. But I feel like the woman's like more powerful, like stronger.
Okay. So it sounds like the sort of the younger woman is quite kind of insulting, whereas the older one kind of hostile and telling you to harm yourself and kind of more critical. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. When you were out shopping yesterday, was it just one of the voices or both that you were hearing?
Kind of before I went out, I heard the younger one saying things to me, but it was more like the older one when I was out, just being there.
And which of the two is kind of more difficult for you?
The older person. Yeah.
Sounds like it.
It's really scary sometimes.
Okay, so it sounds like you were kind of hearing the younger woman when you were at home thinking about going out.
Yeah.
You went out and then started to hear the older woman, and she was more kind of hostile.
She's really
and
forceful, like angry kind of woman.
So she was saying, was she telling you to harm yourself yesterday?
She told me a little bit, like, she said something like, I was trying not to listen, but it's really hard, and she was saying something like I should go home and like cross the road and just not look.
Right.
And then I'd deserve what would happen, because I'm stupid anyway.
Okay. So she tells you that you kind of deserve bad things to happen to you. Has she said why that's the case?
She just says I'm a bad person. And just, that I'm not very nice and that I deserve what I get.
Okay. So it sounds like the kind of, in terms of what happened, it was, or the more distressing situation from a couple of days ago was hearing the older woman. When you hear the older woman's voice, do you have a kind of image of the old woman in your mind, or?
Yeah, like it's kind of old-fashioned, like proper prim and proper. You know, like the old-fashioned school teachers, like who used to cane you and stuff, like that. I don't know why, but yeah, that's the kind of picture I have in my mind. Kind of, like do this, do that type thing.
Okay. So, in terms of what happened, hearing the older woman saying kind of stuff about harming yourself, or that you deserve bad things to kind of happen to you, and telling you that you're a bad person.
I mean, I used to mess about a bit at school, and that's why sometimes I think it could be a teacher, like, getting me back, really. But it's only,
So in terms of how you made sense of it a couple of days ago, was it that this was the old teacher from school trying to get you back, or?
Yeah, I do think about that quite a lot. It does come in my mind because I don't understand, but then I kind of sometimes think, like, it probably sounds a bit stupid, but like it's the devil or something, because they say I deserve it, and I don't know, kind of think, it's been going on for a while, things aren't very good at the moment, and maybe I am a bad person. I'm kind of starting to think about that, really, and if I was good, then this wouldn't be happening, and I'm going mad. And
so it sounds like when it was happening and you were hearing these things in terms of stuff about walking potentially in front of a bus or something, deserving bad things to happen, kind of abuse and being told that you're a bad person. It sounds like a number of things kind of went through your mind, one being that it might be sort of almost like the revenge of this old teacher. But potentially also that it was maybe the devil, and that maybe it meant that you are a bad person.
Yeah, I do feel that.
And I guess you'd said that when that happened, kind of how you felt was kind of scared initially, which makes sense, I think, given the sense you're making of it.
Sometimes you go out and you think maybe, like, if it's a little bit quiet for a couple of minutes, you think maybe it won't happen this time, but it does.
And it sounds like, as well as feeling scared, you felt quite low, which again makes a lot of sense, I think, given what you've said. And in terms of kind of what you do or what you did in that situation, it sounds like kind of at the end you kind of went home, so kind of left the situation.
I wasn't out that long.
Any other things you sort of talked about?
I try not to listen. I just ignore it, but it's really hard. And they're saying such nasty things, and then you start thinking, sometimes like I think I sometimes say things when I'm out, like shut up. And, like,
so actually
talk.
kind of speak back to it.
Yeah, sometimes I really want to shout at them and tell them to piss off and things like that, but obviously you can't do that if you're out shopping, because I get worried that people know I'm sort of hearing things and like nasty things, so I think I kind of say things back to them, or I try and like cover my mouth if I am, and like just do it like that and things so people won't notice.
Okay. And in terms of trying to ignore it and not listen to it, potentially speaking back to it in a kind of covered way, does that stop the voice from happening?
No.
Does it have any effect? Like, does it make it worse, or?
Talking sometimes can make it a little bit worse, because it's like they get like angrier at me or aggravated, and it gets a bit louder sometimes.
Okay, so sort of potentially talking to it sounds like it might actually make the voice worse, make it louder. Anything else you try to do? So if it's telling you to harm yourself or that you're a bad person, do you do anything to try and stop yourself from harming yourself? Or
Put music on.
Okay, so again, try and distract yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. And does that work?
Sometimes, yeah, but kind of nothing lasts that long. It doesn't stop it happening, which I wish it would.
And in terms of the kind of different things that you kind of situation, a couple of days ago when it was happening and you were in the shop, how much in terms of percentage, so kind of 0 to 100, would you say you believed that it was your old teacher kind of getting revenge in some way?
I played it quite a lot when I was out. Don't know, maybe 80%.
Okay. And how about believing it was the devil in that specific situation?
Yeah, like 70.
Okay. And how much would you say you believed that you were a bad person?
100.
Okay. And clearly, if you kind of fairly certain that it's either a kind of old teacher out to get revenge or the devil, that's going to make sense of you feeling scared. And if you kind of a feeling that you're a bad person, it's going to make sense of you feeling very low, kind of down on yourself. How strong were those feelings in the situation?
Like you said, when I was scared, it didn't like last all the time. I was on edge, I think. I was quite edgy, but I was like really, really scared when it first happened, and then.
So at its worst, how scared were you? Sort of again, 0 to 100.
100, yeah, it was really horrible.
And in terms of how low you felt, if 100 was the lowest you'd ever felt, how low would you say in that situation?
I don't know, 80, 90. It wasn't 100, but it felt really bad.
Okay. So, in terms of kind of what happened a couple of days ago, which sounds like a really difficult, kind of distressing situation for you, the worst part of it was hearing the older woman, or the voice that sounds like an older woman, saying nasty things to you in terms of harming yourself, deserving bad things to happen, being a bad person. Kind of made sense of that as either it's this old teacher kind of out to get you, or it's the devil. And and that you understandably felt very scared and kind of low. Understandably, while you were in the situation, you were trying to ignore it, kind of talking back to it at times, and ended up leaving the situation, which again is very understandable. It's interesting, it sounds like sometimes maybe speaking back to it actually might make it louder, which might be something to think about in terms of making it a bit more kind of controllable.
Yeah, nothing I do really works to stop it.
But I guess if speaking back to this voice makes it more frequent and louder, what would that suggest about kind of speaking back to it?
And it just makes it worse, so maybe just don't kind of do it.
Okay. And would that be something you think you could try?
Yeah, it's not like it's something I do all the time. You kind of just do sometimes because it's really difficult.
And it's understandable if you're feeling very scared and worked up and so on. Makes sense. But if it actually makes it worse,
yeah, I've never really thought about it like that before.
It might be worth kind of thinking about kind of not doing that. And I guess another possibility might be that you could maybe experiment with it and one time when it happens deliberately speak back to the voice, and at another occasion deliberately not do so. And if you did that a few times, that might kind of provide you with some information about whether it's helpful or unhelpful. Does that sound like a sensible thing to try?
Yeah.
And in terms of either just trying not to do it or kind of doing it both ways, which would seem more kind of useful to try out to you?
Well, I guess I've done it, and kind of like you said, like, it might not help. It's kind of not doing it to see maybe what happens then. I don't know.
So just trying to kind of ban yourself from doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you're trying to ban yourself from doing it, but if you're getting worked up, it's understandable that you might at times. Are there any ways you could think of that you could kind of not sort of be tempted to speak back? Any kind of strategies you could use?
Like, it sounds stupid, but like chewing gum or like a lolly, just like so you're not got something, so you're not going to talk.
Okay.
Don't know. I guess just when I want to kind of stop myself before I do. Like if someone I don't know is on a diet or whatever, they stop themselves. So I guess.
Okay. And if we're trying to do this to prevent the voices from kind of getting louder and worse, how are we going to know if it's worked or not?
I guess I need to sort of, like you said, do it a couple of times, both ways, and kind of write it down or something like that, so I can remember. Think about, like you said, like how I feel as well. When I've done that, and like banned myself from doing it.
Okay. So if you could maybe between now and next time try not speaking to the voice and see what effect that has.
Okay. I think it's really bad though if I slip up.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's just about at this stage trying to find out a bit more about how things are working, and if by not speaking to it you can prevent it from getting louder and so on, then it might make you feel like you have more control over it. I mean, at the moment, do you feel that you have control over the voice? No. So would it be sensible, or would it be an improvement if you did feel that you had some control?
Yeah.
So we're really just trying to kind of test out whether it's a useful thing or not. So if you have a slip up, as it were. It doesn't. But it's just about seeing whether it's going to be potentially helpful in terms of you feeling that you've got more control over.